Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Lock Shop. Nielsen and Huss back with you once again. I have returned from family vacation in Disneyland, and I look very much forward to diving back into the wild and crazy world of sports betting. Huss, it looked like you held down the fort pretty good last week, buddy.
Yeah, you know what? It actually went quite well. I mean, we didn't do the regular episodes, but was quite active with the daily picks on Twitter. I'm going to get back to my my 3-point season theories, although I know you've got the daily picks this week. But yeah, a couple really nice hockey exclusives on Tuesday and Thursday, a plus 530 winner, a plus 615 winner. So did my best to hold down the fort while you were enjoying yourself down at the Magic Kingdom. Did look like you and the fam had a great time. That was great to see. Hardest working guy in the biz. You deserved it. But back to the grind today, pal. Let's get some winners going.
It's time to get back at it. You're right. There's two places that are the happiest place on earth. Disneyland and the Lock Shop when we're banging out winners. So we're going to get right back to it. As always, the Lock Shop brought to you by our wonderful partners at Coolbet. The schedule this week probably looks something like this today. Tomorrow with the golf being early this week, we'll give you a golf episode tomorrow. And then Thursday, Friday with hockey and March Madness. Huss, lots to get to this week. Busy week in the Lock Shop.
Well, and I mean, this is my favorite golf betting week of the year, the match play. And part of the reason why, for people that are unfamiliar, is not a regular stroke play tournament. It is obviously a match play tourney. We'll have the draw later on today. You'll have 16 groupings with 4 players in each, and they'll play round robin matches, which you can bet on each one individually, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then the weekend, you get down to the 16, 18 final, semifinal, and then of course the final. So, Scotty Scheffler, defending champion on that one, and he's looking pretty
he's coming in hot.
What a performance at the Players. It sort of reminds me about him last year, and I believe I did have him last year. Unfortunately, we're only getting 10-1 on Scotty Scheffler this year as opposed to last year, which was a bit of a different number. But yeah, big golf show tomorrow, and I would have a feeling that we'll also have, I'll certainly have some head-to-head picks in the matches for Thursdays and Fridays shows as well. But we got to get on the futures beforehand, evaluate the bracket. And tomorrow will be another big day in the National Hockey League too. So we'll certainly have some hockey picks as well.
Busy Tuesday night. I've already looked ahead. And once again, like most Tuesdays, pretty busy schedule, pretty decent schedule for Monday night, the National Hockey League as well. And that is where we are going to go. I do have an exclusive for this Oilers-Sharks game. I'll lay it a little bit later on. Might even be up by then. Actually, I think it's up right now. I think I just got a text from Jake saying it is up and good to go. So we'll lay that out a little bit later on, Huss. But what do we got? 5 games tonight? What are you liking from this slate?
Yeah, 5 games tonight. No real bangers, to be honest with you. Well, I shouldn't say that. The Calgary Kings game is a huge one.
Kings Flames is a big one, yeah.
That is a little bit late. I started it off with the Panthers, and the Panthers, while they did look dead maybe a month ago, and have still been relatively inconsistent, they are playing, unlike a certain team that I follow most closely, they are playing like a team that every single game matters. Their life matters on it. They have been scoring goals like crazy. They put up a 9 spot recently. That game against Montreal was hilarious last week. It was 3-2.
Yeah, that was insane.
3-2, 5 minutes into the game. I think they ended up winning 9-4. And listen, the Detroit Red Wings have really taken a step back, made a few trades in and around the deadline. They looked like they were in the mix, and they, like the Buffalo Sabres, have sort of fallen off right now. So to me, the Panthers are the team, although the money line is just, minus 196. But then when I looked at how many goals they're scoring, I think I'm going to get a bit aggressive. I'm going to jump on the Florida puck line today, minus 1.5. And that's a nice plus number at plus 124. The Pittsburgh Penguins, we're going to find out a lot about the Penguins tonight. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt based on the experience in that dressing room. Crosby, Malkin, they got absolutely embarrassed on the weekend. Pumped 6-0 by the New York Rangers. They're another team that is right there on the playoff line. They have to generate some wins and get some momentum. Well, you got the Ottawa Senators, who, like the Detroit Red Wings, have really taken a bit of a step back over the past couple of weeks when they thought that they might be in the mix for a playoff spot. The Penguins are at home. They're dropping minus 154 on the money line. We will take the Penguins to get things straight and get back in the win column. And then listen, this Avalanche Blackhawks game is, as you would expect, a stupid number, a minus 441 on the money line. And the puck line is minus 2.5. Now, I almost would throw that down at plus 107 at minus 2.5, but I am going to want to put these three in a parlay. So we'll play it a little safer, and we'll just go Avalanche to win by 2, and that's minus 179. So, I mean, the maybe the most aggressive play is the Panthers road pick on the puck line, but I just love the way they're playing right now. I think they can get it done. A faith pick on the Pittsburgh Penguins to come back after that embarrassment, losing by half a dozen, and the Avalanche should win by 2 against the Blackhawks. So we'll bet those individually, but put them together is plus 476. So a pretty nice number. But the game that I'm focusing in, and I'm not putting this on the parlay, this Kings Flames game is a straight up pick 'em. Minus 108 on one side, minus 108 on the other side. And needless to say, we here in Winnipeg are paying quite close attention to the Calgary Flames. And the Flames have had a knack of losing in overtime, but they're scoring goals right now, which is one thing that the Jets aren't doing. And I mean, they're playing really, really hard. This team right now, I mean, they've had 2 games against the Kings already. They've got another one in a few games. They've gone back and forth. One of them was OT. One of them was a 1-goal game. I expect this one to be tight. And as I said last week when you were away, this is 3-point season in the National Hockey League for a team like the Kings that's safely in a playoff spot right now. They'll be more than happy to go to overtime. And Calgary might be aggressive because of the way that they haven't been able to win in the extra frame. But the one thing that I think they'll do first and foremost is make damn sure they get their points. So if this game is close in the third period, I'm expecting overtime. And I think we've got some value right now at looking at some of these regulation draws in games like this. So I've got a little sprinkle on the draw at plus 325 as well. I'm going to try and identify one game a week. One game a day that's likely going to go to 3 points. And we're always getting it more than plus 300. I mean,
yeah, big numbers.
Last week in between plus 320 and plus 330, plus 335. So if you can get one out of every 3, you're still well ahead right now. So anyways, Kings Flames tonight. I'm expecting overtime. Worst case scenario for everybody else involved. Book it, plus 325. The regulation draw. You got to click on the game and go and look at some of the other options that aren't on the main page.
Going to be on a lot of the same stuff that you kind of already laid out cases for here, I guess in just a little bit of a different fashion. Give me Colorado here over 3.5 goals tonight. It's almost the exact same value. You know, Colorado over 3.5 goals, minus 173. You on them at Colorado minus 1.5 at minus 179. It's tough in a game like this to try to find that value, right? So you have to look at some of these other sort of markets to get it done when there's such a heavy favorite. So Colorado over 3.5 goals tonight at minus 173. I'm going to go with Florida, ride with Florida here. Everything you said about the Panthers. I'm going to take them in regulation. Just a little bit of a safer play at minus 122. And then I am fully in on the Oilers tonight. But Jack Campbell is starting tonight. And Jack Campbell has led to over after over after over after over. And I think some of the value here is on San Jose over 2.5 goals. Now, I do believe the last time he allowed less than 2 goals was against San Jose. But buddy, you got to go back to February 11th. That was like a month and a half ago since Jack Campbell has basically been able to keep the puck out of his net. If you look at Jack Campbell's game log, and like I said, I got an exclusive with the Oilers, lock shot play of the day still to come. Jack Campbell, over his last 11 games, has allowed less than 3 goals just twice in those games. And his last 5 games, 6, 4, 6, 4, 4, and he hasn't played much. I mean, Stuart Skinner has taken over this net. So I don't know if all of a sudden Jack Campbell finds his confidence. Maybe the Oilers are so dominant tonight that the Sharks don't get a sniff of anything. But if they get a sniff of something, they're probably going to put some pucks behind this guy. Since January, since the beginning of January, He has allowed less than 2 goals just twice. So you're good for 2. If you can get the third one, you're going to hit here at minus 108. So this is not an anti-Oilers play because I think they win this game rather comfortably. But I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair because Jack Campbell plays it over game. So let's get San Jose over 2.5 at minus 108. Some of the Connor McDavid numbers, I mean, it's been ridiculous all year, Huss. But for McDavid to get 3 points in this game is only paying plus 140 for a 3-point game, which is nuts. I think 2 points is minus 190. Which is also just an insane number. But you put all 3 of these plays together, plus 453. And the Oilers have been winning games, but they've still been allowing goals, even with Skinner in net. So let's go San Jose over 2.5 here in probably like a 6-3, 7-3 type of game. But Jack Campbell gets the win. Doesn't look overly impressive, and you can cash minus 108.
I'm interested to see this game as to how Rainbow Reimer does. I wonder if he gets any. I wonder if he gets
Rainbow
any heat
Reimer.
from the fans there.
I had people texting in today saying, "Dusty, can we just ask all of the fans sitting in behind Reimer to be wearing rainbow shirts tonight?" I was just like, "Oh God, that would be be something."
That'll be a bit of a sideshow to tonight's game. Listen, the Oilers are just on a whole nother level right now than San Jose. And this is the sort of game, I mean, you might want to go in and just take over props on most of the Oilers because I'm sort of with you. I think they're going to score goals. And the one thing that you right know, they probably know that they're going to score goals. They need to support their starting goaltender because of the numbers that you just rolled
This is
out.
the exclusive I've got. So McDavid's 2 goals away from 60. So I like his chances here against San Jose to hit 60. So it's going to be plus 550. McDavid to score 2+. Oilers minus 1.5. And the game total over 6.5 at plus 550. So if you think this is going to be one of those nights for the Edmonton Oilers and against the San Jose Sharks, certainly could be. I think they beat them 7-1 that last game Campbell was in net. Then this is pretty good value here at plus 550. You need McDavid to hit 60 tonight, Oilers to win by 2 or more, and for the game to be over 6.5.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to just basically hit on Connor McDavid, not worry about the rest of it, although Dusty does put together a nice exclusive, it's still only plus 305 for 2 goals tonight. That just goes to show you how amazing this guy has been. This guy has been all year. Well, looking forward to that one, and
you got some baseball?
Do you have a lean on the Calgary LA game?
Yeah. Do I have a lean on that? No. I have no idea what's going to happen. I looked at the total. I was like, I like in the past with the Flames and the Kings, I'd be thinking under in this game. But the Flames have played, I think, in 3 straight overs. The Kings have been, better offensively than they have been defensively this year. So I think for that reason, I kind of stayed away from it. I actually, from a value perspective, the best play might be that tie, buddy. I don't mind that.
I mean, listen, it's one of those things where if you hit it, it's great. If not, I mean, you can obviously definitely lose it. But I find it interesting that this is just a straight up pick 'em. And that total, I would have assumed would be 6.5 for these teams, the way that they've been playing and everything like that. But it's actually just 6 minus 117 to the over right now. I can tell you that whether people are betting on it or not, there'll be a lot of people in both Calgary and Winnipeg and probably Nashville as well watching this game tonight to see what the Flames can do.
WBC, you got a little something on that, right?
Well, have you watched much of the tourney?
I have not. I've been out of the loop, man. I didn't even get into any of the madness last week.
It's been really, really fun. I did a little bit on the futures going in, I recall, and we were talking about how the Dominican Republic and Japan were the co-favorites for this event at plus 210 pre-tournament. USA was plus 325. The Americans are now already into the final. They're at minus 164, and you've got this Japan-Mexico game. If you do want to just bet the tournament, Mexico's 6-1 to win the whole thing. Japan is plus 175. I like Japan to get there. They're a big favorite. I think it's minus 303, but to win by 2, a little bit better of a number at minus 147. So I'm going to hammer the Japan run line at minus 1.5. And hopefully we'll have a pretty juicy final between Ohtani and the Japanese, who were the co-favorites of the tournament, and that stacked U.S. lineup that seems to really be coming together right now. I mean, the biggest talk about the tournament at the beginning was teams like the Mets that lost players for long periods of time. Edwin Diaz out for the year.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of angry Mets fans online. But man, this tournament has turned into something that, frankly, we wish we could have in hockey. Sold out buildings, incredible passion and emotion, players playing for their country, players wanting to be there, wanting to be a part of it. If you haven't checked it out yet, I would definitely recommend tuning into that Mexico-Japan game, and certainly the final with whoever wins that matchup going up against Team USA.
I think Jeff Passan had an article today about the guy who's pitching, the kid who's pitching for Japan tonight.
I read that.
Yeah. Did you see that? I haven't read it yet, but I read like a little clip of it. I was just like, holy smokes, this kid brings the heat. Like it sounds to me like it's worth tuning in just to see this guy pitch.
Oh, man. I'm a big fan of the Japanese. I love Ohtani. He's sort of my guy. I was always a big Ichiro guy right now. So I'm hoping they can win. And then I would love for Japan to actually be an underdog in the final. And I'm not sure whether that will be the case if they win. I mean, obviously the odds right now are skewed that way because the USA is already advanced. So we'll find out a little bit later tonight, but it should be some good viewing. And I was just going to ask you about your madness bracket, but not much going on from the madness so far this week.
I filled out a bracket while I was waiting for a food order at Disneyland, just because one guy in our building always runs one. I was like, gosh, I better get in on this, but I went through it super quick. So I'm excited to actually dive into the madness for Thursday and Friday's episodes of the Lock Shop and kind of get into these games a little bit. It was very weird. I was talking about it on my show today. I didn't even know Darren Waller got traded until this morning. I saw he was on the Giants. I was just like, how did I miss this? I never miss anything in sports. And apparently the trade happened like in the second hour of our first day at Disneyland, where I would have been nowhere near my phone. And I just missed it.
You would have been on the teacups or something.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I probably was on the teacups when Darren Waller got traded.
Not getting the alerts at that point.
Yeah.
It was a crazy week in the NFL. I mean, we'll do something maybe as we get closer to the draft. A little bit of a primer on all the player movement that's happened. And was the Aaron Rodgers drama last week. I mean, the quarterback carousel sort of settled down, though. We've got a pretty good idea about where everyone is going to be. And that obviously is maybe the biggest factor when it comes into odds. I will say this. And you'll get a kick out of this. I always do a bracket. For whatever reason this year, I sort of forgot to enter a couple of pools that I normally do. And I'd made a plan. I'd watched my usual 15 minutes of college hoops the weekend before. That's the, extent of the preparation. Don't really get into that over the year. And I saw that massive dude on Purdue. And I'm like, well, listen, I'm betting on Purdue. I mean, they've got a 6'5" or 7'5" guy. Let's go with him. Forgot to put it in. Didn't bet the early games. And then on Friday, when I saw that Purdue had lost, I took that as a sign that now was the time for me to get in. I had basically caught a mulligan off of Purdue, went in and blindly did a 3-game parlay that popped off at 7-1 on Friday night. So it was just a great start to the weekend. Everything actually went great until the Jets showed last night against the Blues. I'll save that rant for Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up at 1 o'clock on YouTube. Check it out. We'll be live in about less than half an hour. With lots to get to from the weekend for Winnipeg and lots more on the Western Conference playoff race if you were so inclined to join us.
And a huge episode of golf for the Lock Shop tomorrow. So make sure you're ready for that. We'll get ready for the match play as well. Huss, we'll talk to you then, buddy.
Later, dude.